guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be discussing drop mixing on the Hercules Inpulse 300 controller given to us by Hercules DJ. Big shout out to them. But essentially I've done this sort of video in some previous videos on my channel, but with the cool new functions of this controller like the beat match guide, I'm going to do this tutorial again, show you how to drop mix on controllers and use these cool helpful features to let you get the hang of drop mixing much quicker and make you a pro at it. So let's get started. Essentially, drop mixing is going from the build-up of two tracks, aligning them, and going from the drop of one track to the drop of the other, switching it at the last moment. So how that would actually look is I would have one track playing, so on, let's say deck 2 is playing and it's going close to the build-up, let's say it's in the break. On my next track that I'm going to be drop mixing it into, I have my hot cues set up. If you guys don't know how to set up hot cues, that was the last video that I did. You guys can check it up in the corner. So you set up a hot cue at the build-up, and so when the build-up starts to approach on this first track, you already have your cue for the build-up on the second track. You hit the cue at the same time as the build-up starts, so now you have two build-ups going at the same time, and that's when you start bringing up your second track. So now you have two build-ups playing at the same time. You can take out the low so it doesn't get muddy, but essentially you want the listener or the audience to hear that there's two build-ups going at the same time and that they are expecting something different to happen. Sometimes you can bring the build-up and kind of let them know that something else is happening in the mix, or you can just simply drop switch at the last second and give them something completely new, but that usually is more reserved for tracks that work super well together. Some popular tracks from, let's say, like Tiesto going into like a Chainsmoker song, something pop, something that people can expect, like a quick mashup. That's where you do just a simple drop switch right at the drop. But if the two tracks are kind of a little bit different, they don't really necessarily flow into each other, you can start bringing it up and teasing it in the mix, and then just bring down the first track right when the drop hits, and then now you have the drop playing from the second track. So that's essentially the concept of drop mixing. Now let's talk about the tracks that we're going to be using today. The first one is Loopy by Silence, and the second one is Assassin by Silence. They're both tracks from an awesome artist that I love to support. You guys can check them out in the description below. So the first track that I'm going to be using is at 123 BPM. It is a bass house track. So we'll just keep that at 123 BPM, but we're going to go down into the tempo of the second track and pitch it down to 123. There we go, 123. Okay, so I'm going to start playing this from around the build-up, the break, and then I already have my hot cue set up for the build-up of my second track, so it's set up on hot cue 2. So if I press hot cue 2, it's just going to go straight to the build-up. So let's get started. I have my first track queued up here, so let's just get started with that. So essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the build-up of this track to go. It's already queued up at 6 for me. So when I see that approaching, I'm going to have my hot cue ready for my second track for the build-up, and that's set up on hot cue 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press hot cue 2 to align it to the build-up, and then while holding the second hot cue down, I'm going to press play and release. So here it goes. Align it using beat align. Okay, it's aligned. And there we go, and that's a drop mix right there. So, that was essentially drop mixing it from loopy into assassin. Now what you saw me do there, just a quick recap, is so I had my first track playing, and I already knew where the build-up was going to be based on how the song structure was laid out, but in order to help me a little bit more, I pre-listened to the track and set up a hot cue at the build-up, so it has a little bit of a marker showing where the build-up starts. Right when the build-up starts, I already have my hot cue set up for my second track. I press the hot cue, I hold it down and press play at the same time. Now why do I do that is because if I just press 2 and let go, it's going to go back to the hot cue position where it was, and it's not going to play. But if I hold down the button and then press play at the same time, let go, it lets the track continue to play, and then you can just keep on mixing. That's a cool little function that you can use in order to instantly play from playing a hot cue, or you can just set the hot cue from where you want, either 2, 3, and then just press play from there, whatever works for you. But for me, I like to get the timing correct on my my hot cue. So if I keep playing, keep pressing the hot cue, it'll go back and I can get the rhythm of the track that I'm trying to align it to. But if I keep pressing play, it's not going to let me do the same thing. So that's why I love using the hot cue feature and then holding it down and pressing play. So that's a cool little feature of this controller. Now, another useful thing is that even though I didn't have a clear kick, or I wasn't aligning the track to the beginning and the end of the track, so it has a clear beats to beat match to, the beat match guide still allowed me to match the build-ups of the two tracks. Even though they were kind of off by a little bit, the track that got analyzed, it went a bit off because the intro is slightly a bit different. It has a leading a whoosh sound that goes into the first beat, so it's just off by one beat grid. But still, regardless of that, the controller saw that the beats were aligned, and it just helped me align it with the guides in the controller. So it has super smart functions, and I actually made this so much easier, and I can see how a beginner would love to use this controller in order to learn drop mixing, just beat matching, and just mixing and transitioning just in general. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into a little mini mix where I just showcase me going from different build-ups and drop mixing them into different tracks, just to show you guys some more examples. Yeah, so let's get started with that.
just get low, keep that ass on the floor.
Step to this. Don't step to this.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, let me know if this tutorial helped, and yeah, if you guys want to win a Hercules Inpulse 200 controller, look down in the description below for all the steps that you can do to enter the giveaway, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.